Okay, if you are deep into a fat loss phase, you know the feeling. Calories are low, step count is high, and your brain is constantly screaming for food. But dropping your calories lower than they already are isn't always the answer. That's how you lose muscle, kill your performance, and lose your mind. Today, I'm going to give you the 5 exact hacks that I use to blunt my hunger, crush my cravings, and completely save my physique during a brutal cut. No fluff, no bullshit fat burner supplements, just fixes that are plain simple. Good morning, everyone. It is a great day to be doing another video. Just about to be heading off to the gym to be hitting a pull session. Currently in a deload week, so things are pretty chill at the moment and just getting the recovery that my body feels like it definitely needs. I'm going to be bringing you guys through the different hacks that I have been using throughout this prep so far, and at least being in a deficit doesn't really apply to just bodybuilders. It does apply to anyone else who is simply just trying to survive a cut, because it isn't one of the easiest things to do when it comes to staying consistent and getting through the grit of just being hungry and thinking about food 24/7. Because if you're someone that loves food like myself, a big foodie, and I also have a very big sweet tooth, it definitely feels like you are at war. Like, the one thing to take away from it all though is you can't run away from the discomfort of being in a cut, but you can somehow tone it down a little bit just so it makes it a bit more bearable. Definitely something that can allow you to be more likely to finish it off. It's funny because when I was in a bulk in the off season, I used to tell myself, fuck, I wish I was in a cut. It's so much easier. There's not as much food to eat. I don't have to spend as much on food. Honestly, now that I'm in the cut, it makes me think otherwise. But either way, there's a write-off for everything. Let me know in the comments if you had to choose one for the rest of your life. Would you rather be cutting or would you rather be bulking? That's the question. So yeah, let's get to it. Hack number 1, sugar-free beverages. The mechanoreceptors, which are basically the sensors in your stomach walls, signal fullness to the brain, based entirely on physical volume and distension, not just how many calories you've consumed. I found what has really helped me was using things like sparkling water, sugar-free sodas, whether that's your Coke Zero, things like that, Pepsi Max, Sunkist Zero. There are just so many different varieties of different sugar-free sodas that are out there, sugar-free energy drinks. And another big thing for me that has really helped is things like, if you love coffee, definitely long blacks are the way to go, just because at least you don't have the milk in there. When I wasn't super deep in the cut, I definitely still used things like almond milk and just standard low-fat milk when I was still able to have them. But otherwise, if you do have to keep digging deeper, long black it is. Black iced teas are also good. And another very interesting thing that I also do from time to time is literally boil some hot water and have that whenever I get to the point of the peak of my hunger, when I know I can't have anything else or I can't spare any more calories. Just having that hot water just creates an instant sensation, an instant, let's say, satisfaction on the stomach, just because it definitely warms it up and it kind of makes it feel like, it's kind of weird, it makes you feel like you've just ate something because of the heat from it, and it just makes you feel comfortable in that way, as opposed to having cold water where it makes your stomach tense up and all it does is make you feel hungry. Yeah, another weird but interesting one. But if there was anything to take away from this hack, I would say not that you can't, but I would suggest trying to have your sugar-free beverages in between your meals rather than having them with your meals if you are in a super extreme cut. But otherwise, if it is just a moderate cut, I would say it is probably fine to have it with your meals. It really depends on your schedule and your routine and how well you can space out the meals throughout the day. Whereas like myself, I'm a shift worker and I find that it is pretty difficult to be spacing out the meals when I have different work times, different starts on different days. So sometimes I will be working on the super early morning shifts. I will try to fast until midday, and usually I would be having long black in the morning and hopefully have that get me up all the way up until midday or just before it. So basically just trying to push the space out before having that first meal up until midday. So at least the rest of the day, I don't suffer that much. Hack number 2, low calorie sauces. This is the, condiments are the silent killer to any fat loss phase, because you can see someone having a super healthy meal. I see it all the time and I've actually done it myself. So I'm not one to talk, but just from what I've seen, what I have done, it's so easy to overdo the sauces because you can think that you've made the most perfect meal and you're having everything ticked off with the macros and how many proteins and carbs and fats you're having within that meal without tracking the sauces. And you think that because everything else is all good and it's all tracked, but the sauces are something that can really top it up, and it can make you go over so easily on your calories. That's just something to be wary of, because you just never know how many calories are in the different sauces there are out there. And if you track them, you'd be pretty surprised with how calorie dense they can be just by overdoing it. When you're in a cut and you feel like all your food is pretty boring and it's staying the same each day, being able to switch up between all the low calorie sources that are out there can make you feel like you're having a completely different meal. It helps, I guess, from a psychological standpoint as well. Definitely is a game changer. And I think my favorite sauce, probably that I am light sweet chili sauce, which I get from either Woolworths or Coles, or if you're not from Australia, you can get them from any Asian supermarket, which shouldn't be hard to find. It's just crazy how a serving is only 4 calories. Literally less than 1 gram of any macronutrient you can think of. Honestly, I think it tastes better than the standard sweet chili sauce, surprisingly. Sriracha is also a decent one. Probably not as low calorie as the I Am Sweet Chili, but still pretty low, 34 calories a serving, which is 25 mils. Carbs, however, on the higher end, but only 7 grams. And I guess the one thing to watch out for these low calorie sauces are the sodium, because sodium can creep up every now and then. Like this one, it has 730 milligrams of sodium per serve. So it's just something to be wary of and not to go over on that too. So if you're into your balsamic dressings that you like to add over your salads too, they do have a 99% fat-free that you can get, and it is honestly cracker. It shouldn't be legal. A great addition to have to your salads, or even if you just want to add some flavor to any part of your meal whatsoever. Definitely a game changer. This is another one I forgot to mention. I usually get the Steve's Zero maple syrup, which is for some reason not on the shelves of Woolworths where I usually get them. And I'm hoping that they haven't permanently taken it off, but otherwise this is another decent alternative, good to have with your oats or anything that you would like to add some sort of sweetness to. It is the Queen brand, sugar-free maple flavored syrup. That is looking bloody delicious. For a serving is 35 mils, so that's actually quite a bit. And in that serving is 20 calories. So I do have to be quite moderate and use it very sparingly, just because I do have limited calories and want to make sure I do not go overboard. Hack number 3, environment and stimulus fasting. Ultimately, keep yourself busy. I find that during times where I'm not really doing anything and I'm not preoccupied, all I end up thinking about is food. Like, even at work, in my role, I'm always staring at screens and there's always movies playing, TV shows. Kind of just feels like you're just sitting on couch watching TV at home. When times aren't busy at work and it's pretty cruisy, that's probably when it's the toughest, because you know that feeling when you're watching TV or you're watching a movie and you're not eating anything and you kind of feel like there's something missing. It's literally that exact same feeling that I get all the time there when I'm in a cut and I am at work. It's just probably one of the more challenging things. And sometimes I find when there are super busy days, despite how hungry I am, if there is a lot to do, my brain just instantly does not think about it and it's so focused and fixated on what I'm actually doing. But I guess this doesn't always have to apply to work. It can also apply to when you're at home. If you're just going to be doom scrolling on your phone and just playing around, not doing anything, you're most likely going to be coming across a feed in which you will find food, yummy, delicious looking food. For some reason, I'm starting to see all these low-calorie recipes now on my For You page, and it just keeps popping up everywhere. And although low-calorie recipes are great, like mentally, it's just making me think about food all the time. So sometimes I just try not to be on the phone too much and try to, I guess the best thing is going for a walk, especially being in a cut. Cardio is something that should be really prioritized, as well as being in that deficit. And I find it so therapeutic just to go out and get my mind off things, being able to look out and just enjoy the fresh air. It does feel a lot more rewarding in the end because you know you've actually done your steps. It's kind of like giving you a head start for the day. It does make you feel set up. Really surrounding yourself with the right environment and setting yourself up for success is probably another huge thing in this. Making sure that you have nothing within reach of you that you know can potentially harm your cut or potentially harm your fat loss phase, because all it takes is for you to see something within reach and knowing that you can take that if you really wanted to. All it takes is for you to grab it. That's how quick it can just go. As opposed to if you didn't have anything within reach that was going to harm you, it would take you a lot more effort to go and grab those certain things that you're craving or are thinking about. And if you wanted to go grab something that you were thinking about, it would take you going all the way out to the shops just to grab them. And I think within that time that you're driving there, you would already start to feel guilty, or at least from my experience. And that is something I've done in the past and I'm not very proud of, but have learned from it, have taken away that it is something that is going to get you back to square one. It's a no-go. It's a no-go. Hack number 4, the oral fixation swap. Just kidding. 1. It doesn't always apply just to sugar-free gums, but any sugar-free mints, anything like Joel's, just something for you to chew on. But let's be real, half the battle of deep dieting isn't starvation. It's the habitual act of wanting to chew and taste something when you are bored, stressed, or working late. Honestly, if there was anything that I was going to suggest when it comes to this hack, pick a strong, distinct flavor. Peppermint completely alters your palate. Absolutely nothing tastes good right after a strong mint anyway, which successfully kills that psychological urge to snack. Sugar-free gum should be had under moderation. Otherwise, your stomach may come across issues, which is not fun. There would be times where I would overindulge just because flavor goes out, already putting another piece in, and it comes to the point where I have too much. My stomach starts to feel really, really shit, and it's just not fun. But still a lifesaver. Just to keep you somewhat satiated in between your meals is probably the best times. Hack number 5, the volume extender. And like I said in the first hack, your stomach's stretch receptors dictate fullness. And to survive the final weeks of a cut, you really need to maximize physical food volume without blowing your entire energy budget. One of the best things is targeting a 10-to-1 ratio of high water, low bloat vegetables that I blend directly into my meals rather than serving them as a boring side salad. Really simple things like mixing cauliflower, shredded cauliflower or cauliflower rice into your rice or into your oats, just anything that can really top up that total volume. The easiest thing is to just mix it together with your meat itself rather than having it separate, because I used to have it separate and Usually it just wouldn't feel as satisfying if I were to have my chicken and rice, or if I were to have my beef and potatoes first and then have the vegetables after. It just would not feel right. It would just feel like I'm having a plain ass salad after. I'd say my favorite vegetables to have, in which I usually do when I'm not prepping, just because it does bloat me a little, is Brussels sprouts. I know Brussels sprouts aren't everyone's favorite thing, but it does fill me up a lot more than the standard vegetable. And I usually have it with balsamic sauce, in which I stir fry with the Brussels sprouts after it's roasted in the oven, and it tastes fucking amazing. At the moment, I'm just having standard mixed vegetables that I get from the Bird's Eye brand. Spud Light potatoes, which are a lot lower carb than your standard white potatoes. Just makes it like a much larger meal. But remember, deep in a deficit, your digestive tract does slow down. If you start dumping massive amounts of raw, fibrous greens into your system, you're going to cause severe bloating, gas, and even GI distress. I've overdone it, and in previous preps, I would overdo the salads to a point where the entire bowl is almost a salad. And although in the moment it can feel really satisfying because I'm feeling full, it does get to the point in which I stay bloated for hours, and instead I actually feel worse. So that's just something to keep in mind that I've really learned from. And not only that, if you're a competitive bodybuilder, that does ruin your check-in photos, as bloating is the last thing you want to see. I guess one way to work around that is to cooking them thoroughly to protect your digestion. Probably my favorite volume hack out of all, and there is no better way to end your night without using a Ninja Creamy. Ever since I started using this, I just can't go back. Why would you have a liquid shake that you would down in literally seconds when you could have an entire tub of ice cream, protein ice cream? I'm literally struggling here. Oh, that took forever. Okay, the only downside to this is how noisy it actually is when you press the button. It kind of sounds like I'm grilling something. Oh, the volume of this is absolutely nuts. Look at that. This is basically replacing my post-workout meal, which is 50 grams, which should be 50 grams of cereal and protein itself with berries. So what I've done is I've actually crushed the cereal into crumbs and have used that as the topping itself. So this honestly doesn't feel right, but it works. I don't know what's better. This was one thing I do need to remind you. I need to give you a massive warning on how not to use these tools. Do not take these 5 hacks and use them to starve yourself on unsustainable, dangerously low calories, because these are to help you execute structured calorie deficit. They are not a green light to drop your food to 800 calories a day and try to survive entirely on black coffee. Like, extreme restriction can honestly backfire and can make things worse if you do go down the more extreme path and you stay in that for a much longer time than you should. So coming from me, 9 weeks out, or sorry, not 9 weeks out, that's just my prep brain kicking in. About 7 weeks out now, it does get to the point where, you know, we are still going through in and out of refeeds. So we're having majority of the week being low days, and some weeks we will go into refeeds just to top that up and make sure that I'm not running flat for super long, getting into that catabolic state. It all comes with strategy and execution and just following something that has a purpose behind it, rather than just trying to go down the extreme path all the way. Because at the end of the day, a cut isn't won by who suffers the most. It's won by who manages the suffering the smartest. Hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next one.